Welcome back to the HuffDaddy BBQ YouTube channel. Before we get started, I want to make sure to say thank you to all my subscribers. I've reached enough subscribers to have my own URL on YouTube now, and that really means a lot to me. So I'm going to do my best to keep the barbecue videos coming, and I'm also going to start expanding out into other videos, doing some recipes like what we're going to do after we cook this pork butt today. So thank you again. And today we are doing a pork butt. When I tell all my friends who ask me, hey, I want to get started in barbecue, how should I begin? I always tell them to get started with a pork butt for pulled pork. Main reason why is it is the most forgiving. There's a large window of when it's not done enough and when it's overdone. So the chances of making a mistake like with ribs or brisket is a lot less likely. You can use pulled pork in a lot of different recipes, and let's be honest, it's just delicious. So what we have here today is a all-natural pork butt from Reese's. That's our local grocery store. It's about a 6 or 7 pound pork butt. When you're getting a pork butt, what you want to look for is this fat right here in the middle, as much of the intermuscular fat as you can. This one came pretty well trimmed, so there's not a lot of fat on it on the fat cap side. So really, I'm not going to have to do much trimming today. You know, there's different parts of a pork butt. For backyard guys, which is really what this video is for, I'm not going to worry too much about it, but you do have the money muscle here, which is across from the blade bone. Back on this side, you look and find this piece right here. In competition, that piece right there is going to be what's called the money muscle. Very tender. You're going to cut that into medallions. You've also got some bacon right here underneath the fat cap. You've got these tubes running through here. These are all different parts of a pork butt. However, for backyard guys, you're not going to worry about that. You're going to worry about getting the right rub on the meat, getting it well covered, getting it in the smoker, and cooking it to the right temperature. So today for the rub, I'm going to be using Bad Byron's butt rub. I really like this rub. It's got a lot of spice to it, a little bit of heat from some chipotle peppers. I like the grind of it too. It's a really fine spice, so I like to put that on the butt rub or the pork butt first. And then I'm going to be coming back over the top of it with Head Country. This is kind of my go-to rub, especially when I do caterings or cooking for friends and family. It's just really simple. It's easy to find, and it tastes great. Head Country makes some really good products, and of course they're locally owned here in Oklahoma. So when you're covering the pork butt, well, first off, again, this really doesn't need a lot of trimming. I'm going to cut just a little bit of fat off here. If you look around on the other side of the fat cap, it really looks pretty good. In fact, they may have trimmed just a little bit too much fat off of that for my purposes. But really, this one didn't need to do a lot of trimming. If yours has a lot of fat here on this side, you can certainly take it off to try to get the rub, the meat exposed to get the rub on there. But really, you don't have to worry too much about the fat on the pork butt where you might with the brisket. So it's all going to render off on a very long cook. All right, let's get started with the rub. Just a really light coating here. And you want to get it all over the butt. You absolutely want to get rub on every side. Rub is where your flavor is. And you want as much of that wonderful bark as you can. And the only way to do that is to get a good rub on the surface area of the meat. All right. That looks pretty good. Now I'm going to come back over the top of it with some Head Country. Really like the Head Country. You can see some herbs and spices in there. Looks like it's got some rosemary, maybe some thyme. Anytime you've got some green in a rub, I really like that. And again, if you're a beginner, start with a pork butt because it's the only piece of meat, well maybe besides ribs you could argue, but the only piece of meat that comes with a built-in thermometer. When we're done with this pork butt, that blade bone I showed you, it's gonna pull right out and it's gonna come out clean, and that's how you know you've cooked the pork butt to the right temperature. It's gonna take about an hour and 15 minutes per pound. So with this being a 6-pound pork butt, we're gonna be looking at right around, 7.5 hours or so, depending on the temperature. Today it's pretty cold outside actually. It's below freezing and the wind's going, so it might take a little longer, but we've got it all rubbed. Rub on every side. Let me get a little more right here. All right. Looks pretty good. We're gonna take this out to the smoker and see you soon. All right, we've got the YS 1500, the Yoder smoker going. We're at about 250 today. Again, it's pretty cold outside. You can really cook these pork butts anywhere from 225 to 275. Just kind of depends on your preference. I haven't seen a big difference in the results. So today we're gonna be cooking right in the middle at 250. We're gonna put this on and we're gonna leave it and we're gonna look for when it gets that nice mahogany color. When you've got a good bark, and again that's probably going to be somewhere in the 5 hour range, and then we're going to come out and wrap it. So I'm going to go ahead and put it on. I put mine fat side down. There's not a lot of fat on this, so it's really not going to matter. Both sides are about the same. The reason I put mine fat side down is so the heat will be the fat will protect it from the heat that's coming up. Don't listen to the people that say on fat side up that fat is dripping down and keeping the meat moist. That's just not true. So for this, I'm gonna put it fat side down right here on this side of the smoker. And there she goes. We'll be back to check on it, and probably the first check will be about 3 hours. All right, the Yoder smoker's been cruising along at about 250 for 3 hours. So we're gonna take a quick peek, see how we're doing here on the pork butt. Yeah, starting to get some nice color. That bark's starting to form. I like the mahogany, the way those two rubs combine there. If I were to probe this, we're probably going to be in the 135, 140 range. I want to get to closer to 160, 165. I want to get a little more color on that, a little bit darker, but everything's looking good so far. Okay, we've been right at about 5 hours. Before I check the pork butt real quick, I want to let you know I always forget to say what kind of wood pellets I'm using. Today I'm using a competition blend from Pit Boss. Really, I found that the brand of pellets doesn't make that big of a difference. Use whatever flavor you like, pecan, oak, hickory, whatever brand. I just go for whatever pellets are the cheapest because the end results haven't really been significant. So use what you want. All right, let's go ahead and check this. Yeah, we're looking for a good color, which is what we got there. That's a dark, nice mahogany color. We're probably gonna probe this here and it's gonna be right around 160. Yep, perfect. So we're gonna go ahead and put this in some foil. We wanna double wrap it fairly tight with aluminum foil. If you wanted to go ahead and spritz it here with apple juice, apple cider vinegar, beer, something like that, you certainly could. My feelings are there's enough fat in the pork butt. We don't want a lot of extra moisture in there because there's going to be plenty. So just make sure you wrap it good and tight inside the foil. You don't want that leaking out. And we're doing this to help push through the stall. Once those muscle fibers and the fat in there started breaking down and dissolving, that's going to essentially make the meat sweat, which is going to act like it's cooling off the meat, just like your body would. We're trying to prevent that and push through the stall so we can get done in a reasonable time. Put that back on the smoker. Probably going to be another 1.5 to 2 hours. The next step will be checking for an internal temperature right around 198, 200 degrees, but mainly you want that bone that's in there to pull out clean, and you want your thermometer to go in there nice and smooth with very little resistance. All right, we've been right at about 7.5 hours actually total cook time. Again, it's cold outside, took a little bit longer, and I think we're gonna be good. We're looking for this probe to go in real easy and probably a temperature right around 200 degrees. So, I'm gonna unwrap it. Oh yeah, you can see the bone there starting to come out. And if we get this here, yep, right at 201, 202, and that's real easy going in and out. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this pork butt, I'm gonna let it sit for a little bit on the countertop inside with it open, let some of the steam out, kind of stop the cooking process. You don't want it to overcook. Then after about 5-10 minutes, I'm gonna wrap it back up and I'm gonna let it just sit on my counter for about an hour, maybe an hour and a half. Let it chill out, let it rest, soak up all those juices, and then we'll pull it. All right, we've been resting on the counter for about an hour, so here's the finished product. As you can see with the bone, this is what you want. You want the bone to pull out clean, just like that. That's how you know that the pork butt was cooked enough to be tender. You're just gonna come in here and break it down with your hands. That's just goodness. You can see there's a lot of juice down here too. You can save that juice and make a barbecue sauce. You can put it back in the pork, which is what I like to do after I pull it. You're just gonna shred this with your hands or shred this with your fingers. A very important part is to take, after you have it shredded, and add some more rub, because the flavor again is in the rub, and that rub was only on the outside of the meat. So once you pull this apart into pulled pork, you're going to want to take some rub and sprinkle it all over it, just to your liking, kind of like you would have with salt and pepper, and you should be good to go. So stay tuned for another video where I'm going to take this pulled pork and turn this into a wonderful dinner entree of pulled pork with a cornbread waffle and some maple syrup and horseradish glaze. So that video will be coming up soon. Thank you again to all my subscribers on my YouTube channel. If you're not a subscriber, please hit the subscribe button below, and that way you'll be made aware anytime I have new videos coming out. So that's it. Hope to see you guys next time. Take care.